Rachel Morgan, and this is my story.
I'm Luce Morgan, and this is my story.
All the day long, this is my story. This is my song.
Okay, well, recently I've, what is it called? I've started high school, and I've been introduced to different, what is the word? Temptations. With with high school parties and just trying to fit in the best I can, and it's not. Okay, so it was like high school parties would like happen every week, and they invited me lots of times to go with them and to just go to the lake and just to hang out with them at their house and just to, smoke and drink and just to force around and stuff. Some of my friends were actually doing it and going with the older girls in school, and they invited me one day to go with them to a sleepover, and I went back to my house after basketball practice, and I was just tired and I just didn't want to go. I was actually going to go to see what they were going to do, because they were saying that they were going to watch movies and stay up all night, so I was like, okay. And then I was sleepy and I actually fell asleep. And when I woke up, it was like 9 o'clock, and then I saw over Snapchat, and I saw them drinking and, doing some joints and all that stuff. The next day, it was a Friday, and then Monday when I went back to school, they were talking about it, saying they're throwing up, and they had to clean up, and they had to hide it from their grandma and doing all that stuff, and they were joking around about it. And I was just standing there in the circle, and they were asking me why I didn't go. And I was like, well, I fell asleep. And they're like, oh, you should go with us next time. And I was like, okay. And then I told my mom about it. She said, well, I guess it's a good thing that you didn't go, because a lot of things could have happened, because that night another girl had actually gotten into a car accident on her way to the sleepover. A lot of things could have happened if I had gone. Different things, and I just glad I didn't go. Then at the end, like, they started inviting me really early, and then when I didn't go to any of them, then they just stopped inviting me at the end. And they just thought, oh, she's not going, I'm just gonna stay home, watch movies, hang out with my parents, and all over, social media, they were just drinking and stuff, and just a lot of peer pressure happens, and it's not easy being a church girl. I felt like I wanted to go just because all my other friends were going, and I was wanting to go, but something told me I shouldn't go, and so I didn't. When we were at school, they would always talk about, going to another party from another school, just going to different things with other boys and doing stuff that they were supposed to do. And everyone was talking about it, and I was in a circle by myself. I just didn't feel like I really fit in. I guess I just hung around church and stuff instead of going to all these parties. And we just recently we got a new church, and when we got it, it was like run down, I guess you would say, because the previous owners, the other church members that had it before, they haven't used that church in 3 years. So it was like, I guess, vacant. And we had to work on it. Like, we had to take out, because they left all their stuff in the church building, and so we had to, take all their stuff out, and they didn't put no insulation in the walls, and we had to take the walls down, and we had to work on it a lot, mostly on the weekends when the parties were going on. And I just went to church, just worked on it with my dad and all the other church members that were there. I just did that instead of going to all the parties and stuff. Okay, I like this verse because I'm scared all the time. It says, it's from Deuteronomy 31:6, and it says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. For the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." Amen.
My name is Rachel Morgan, and I'm 26 years old, and I am from Holdenville, Oklahoma. All right, how these Morgan girls here got into Immokalee is from our oldest taking this step of faith and being called here. So we come to visit very often, as much as we can anyway, to visit our sister, our brother, and of course our beautiful, wonderful, sweetest, perfect nieces. And like I said, I visited as much as I could, and it would be like months at a time, but this is why I'm here. I've been here for almost a year anyway. I'll just say that in my life, I've experienced many toxic relationships, habits I should have never chosen, paths I should have never gone down, but Jesus has got me through it. And the reason why I'm in Immokalee now is because last summer, when I was in the middle of a storm that I chose to be in, Lindsay and Josh came down to Oklahoma to Falls Creek, and they knew as much as they could for being 24 hours away that I was in it. And of course, Josh, he jokes all the time, but he's always welcomed us anytime we ever wanted to come for as long as we wanted. You should just come back with us. So for some reason, I heard that, and Rachel, the world Rachel, was like, there's nothing for me there. But I knew that if I stayed, there was no telling how deep down I would went. Watching them have as much faith that they had in Jesus, and I had it in my heart, but that doesn't mean I'm showing it. So it's bouncing off their backbone, using their backbone for a little bit. I took a step that day. I quit my job there, and a week later, I found myself in Immokalee, Florida. And since then, I worked at a couple different places, and Miss Lala actually, you should try the Boys and Girls Club. And I was like, I don't want to work with kids. Oh, I don't want to work with kids. But that's where I'm working now. I tried to work at another place, didn't work out. Now I'm working with kids, and I couldn't find a better job here in Immokalee and a better church family. It's like I'm not 24 hours away from home. Myself, I've changed just in location. It's big, it's night and day from Oklahoma, 24 hours, to Immokalee, Florida. Just the culture, the people around you, that everything is different. So it was challenging at first. I thought, I don't know what I'm gonna do here. There's nothing around here. There's nowhere to eat. There's not even a mall. There's not even a Walmart. So, right? Amen. Can we get an amen? Target. There was no Target. I didn't know what to do for fun. I didn't know nobody, but that was a challenge in itself. And of course, I love to be around my family, but I'm still my own person. So that was a challenge. But being 24 hours away from my own family and I still got family, but you just learn to, I don't know, not be so much about blood and your family, because the people Jesus put around you, it's more than just blood. And they've helped, just watching them, how they treat my family and myself, how they welcome me in this community, and just the people that Jesus has surrounded me and blessed me with recently. It was a challenge at first, but it always comes into a blessing. All right, just like we all have shared our individual testimony, and Reese was with her temptations, and mine was with the road that I chose, that I thought was best for me. And I guess at the end of every single day, it shows that, worrying isn't going to help. So she found strength in the Lord, and following the crowd isn't going to help. And, she went against it. Even though it hurts when you don't fit in, she's strong enough to not do it. Well, I was the one. I did it. I went down that road, and I chose that. But coming out of it, and every single night, I think I've made all of the mistakes I've ever made in my years. The one regret that I have is how much time I wasted in this world. And I guess my advice to everybody is, it's not worth it. I guess I can tell you that much, is it's not worth it. Not worth being away from your family, not worth being away from church family. It's definitely not worth being away from God, because He's at the end of every single day, those people you hung out with, or that relationship you was in, or whatever the circumstance may be, He's still the only constant, and He'll always be there no matter what. Well, first of all, I just want to tell our parents, thank you so much for raising us how you did, and teaching us how to love Jesus and to lean on Him in all situations. So this is just my last comment. I want to make a comment that in my blood, I'm 100% Native American, and I'm very proud of it. And if I had to choose it, that would be what I wanted to be. Very proud of it, but Jesus is in my heart. So if anybody's struggling with your culture and Jesus, He's the one who made you. All right, the verse I chose is Philippians 1:3-6. I thank my God every time I remember you. In all my prayers for all of you, I always pray with joy because of your partnership in the gospel from the last day until now, being confident of this, that He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. This is a very special verse to me, because when I was out in the world, this is the verse that my mom prayed over me. And as you see, I'm back in it, and that He's not done with me.
Okay, my name is Lindsay Leading Fox, and I am 31 years old, and I am from Immokalee, Florida. Okay, so when Josh originally was just floating the idea around of telling your story of where you encountered Jesus, how you encountered Jesus, and what an impact that's had on your life, I know that I was talking and I felt compelled to do it for myself, just because I know how much He's done for me, and how impactful He's been on my life, how it's never been the same. And so as I was talking to my sisters, who I'm lucky enough and blessed enough to have with me right now, just talking about the idea of doing it, to be bold enough to get up and tell your story, they were willing, after some talking to some of us,
a lot of pushing,
but just willing to share what we have seen as sisters coming from one family, of what we've seen God do in our lives, and the lives of our parents, and the lives of our family unit. And so they were willing and happy to get up and share just what our story is. And our story, it kind of has the same beginning, because obviously we're sisters, we come from the same family. But at some point, we've all branched off just in life and gone our separate ways in different things, and God has taken us through different journeys. Just coming up and wanting just to share what we know God has done in the lives of our Morgan family, and then how individually He's taken us into on separate roads and separate journeys. Today in service, our pastor, Josh Leading Fox, he shared a statistic that 9 out of 10 children that are brought up in the church, they don't share their testimony. And we are those kids. We are church kids. We were born and raised in the church. We were thankful and blessed enough to have parents that had an encounter with Jesus before we were born, and to have seen a need in their lives, but not only in their lives, but they wanted their children to follow after Christ. I mean, that's what our parents have taught us. They modeled it for us, but they've also taught us is that anything that's within the church that they need, and you're willing to do it, and you're able-bodied, then you better get up there and do it. But I think that's what Jesus does. Is you see what he's done in your life, and the power that he has shown through circumstances, through hard and through good times, you can't help but speak. That's the verse that I know that is our family motto, is we can't help but speak about what we've seen and what we've heard. And to go even further is that's untrained and ordinary men. I mean, that's women. That's who I would definitely categorize myself as, just being an ordinary person, but that has seen things that have happened through the power of God. Our parents, they came from, especially our mother, she came from a home where there was her parents, our grandparents, they came to know Christ later. And so when she was a young girl, there were struggles, there were things that happened that when she was going to become a mother, that she desired for her children not to see and not to have and not to be a part of. We are the legacy of our parents. We are the legacy of what they experienced in their past growing up and how they wanted something different. They desired something different, and that difference that they found was Jesus. We're the legacy of them and their prayers. And before that, that's what we were taught. We were taught to come together and with fellow believers and just do life together, just enjoy birthdays and celebrations, and then mourn together and be sad together. Some of our blood relatives, our family, who we share the last name with, we don't know them very well, as opposed to those that we're part of the church family. After Josh and I got married, we were just looking for, what do we do now as a married couple? What's our place? What's our work? What are we supposed to do? And so we had a church home there in Edmond, Oklahoma, where we lived and owned a home, and where Josh worked. And so we served there for several years, and just the draw to Florida kept on coming. And Josh and I got married in Florida. So we kind of had our beginning together as he and I together. We kind of have roots in Florida. And then when this opportunity came and Josh first said, what do you think about moving to Florida? And here we have this less than year-old baby, almost 1-year-old baby. And I just remember in my heart, I am naturally a hesitant person. I like things planned out. I like to know I like familiar. I love familiar. And when he initially said it, I just said, okay. And I think about it now, and I think, that wasn't like me. That's not me, Lindsay, in my heart. That's not who I am naturally. But I believe that was just God continuing to just getting me ready because there was going to be something else. There's going to be something different. There's going to be another path that you're going to go on. That's okay, because I'm going to be there for you. I'm making a way, and it's not the way that you think. It's not going to be in Oklahoma. It's not going to be an hour from your parents and your in-laws, but know that I'm going to be there. And we began to pray, and we came down, and again, here I have this little 1-year-old baby in my arms, but there was just a peace about it. And I can't even, now thinking about it too, now, 6 years later, I think, oh my gosh, that was really bold of us, but at the time I wasn't thinking it. I just thought, it just felt like the next step. It just felt natural, and so we did it. We moved. We didn't know very, very few people. We didn't know even all the logistics of anything, but we just came. And I can say for myself that I've never been the same. I think that's one thing that Josh and I always say is that Immokalee didn't need us, but we, Josh and Lindsay, needed Immokalee. The church is there's just such a beauty in the church, just in itself, not just First Seminole, but the body, the church, the bride of Christ, is because he draws so many people from different walks of life together. We're just different, and then we all come together, and but that's who unifies us is Him. So that's why the church is special to me, because for one thing, this is where we come from. We don't know anything different. That's what our parents always pointed us to. If nothing else, even them at times would say, I don't know what to tell you, I don't know how to help you in this situation. Jesus, that's what they always pointed us back to. That was always the constant. Recently we had our third daughter, Mila, and over the past, she'll be 9 months this weekend, so over the past 9 months and even before that, just knowing that the doctors were saying that there's health complications, there's things that we can see right now, and so when she's born, she's going to, there's going to be some things we're going to have to monitor for her. Just like Rachel touched on, just to watch how our church family just rushed to our side and took things off of us, supplied literally a car seat and a pack and play, and when we get home, and there's all these things that we needed to get because we were on our way to Babies R Us, we thought, and the doctor said, no, you're heading toward the hospital. It was something, though, as we were sitting next to her bed in the NICU, I was reminded that we had been there before. Literally, we've been in the NICU before, because our first daughter, Layla, she had complications when she was born, because she was born prematurely. And so she spent time in the NICU, and it was just really almost eerie how similar they're built, Layla and Mila, and physically how they're built, but also just their beginning of being born prematurely because of a condition, of high blood pressure that I've experienced with the two of them. To have that happen 6 years ago, 7 years, Layla's 7, to do it now, almost a year ago now, there was times when I would be sitting in the NICU and I would be worrying because, the things that Mila faced were different than the things that Layla faced. Layla faced complications just from being born early. And Mila, they could see, there was things internally. There was her kidneys weren't functioning like they were supposed to. And so whenever I would come out of the NICU from that area and go, and my girls would be sitting out in the waiting room with my family, with my sisters, my mom, and I would see this, this tall, beautiful little girl run up to me. It reminded me of the fact that I've been there before. I'd been there in a hard place with a baby before. I was there for you then. I'll be here for you now. Specifically, Mila in general, her journey that she's taken, and me as her mother, as I've taken it beside her. I know that, God has just shown me so many things as far as where my faith was in Him before. Let's really look at it, Lens. Let's see, because that's what He calls me, by the way, Lens. God calls me Lens. Just where are you now? Let's be real honest and say, okay, not the pastor's wife, not anything else, but where is your faith in me right now? What is it right now? During this time, over this last 9 months, a little bit over, that He has shown me that He's real. He's shown me that He hears me. He's given me peace. You can't understand Him as a healer unless you need healing. And I know that's what I've asked for over the last 9 months, is for healing, and even, longer than that, for healing for her. And it's encouraging to come together as a church family, come in times of worship, and to hear people, even recently, to hear people that have been healed, to hear answers specifically of healing. I never understood meditating on Him and who He is and His Word. There's times whenever I'd be washing dishes or just doing things throughout the house, and I would just have this wave of just worry and anxiety rush over me, and then I could feel myself saying, I know you're able, I know you're able, I know you're able. That the same God that was there is the same God that's here with me today. I've had to allow myself to even go to those thoughts of the even if. I call them the even ifs, the worst case scenario. For my own self and my conversations with the Lord, He's challenging me to go there. Even if she has to have surgery, even if the test is saying no improvement, even if, I'm still there. I'm still going to be there. I will go there with you. Know that. Even if happens, that He's there. He'll be there. He's already shown me that. He's already told me that. He's already promised me that. He's promised me that no matter what. And I know that that's how He works. He doesn't waste anything. He doesn't waste hardship. He doesn't waste tears. He doesn't waste anything. It's all for something. It's all for His glory. Okay, at the end of the day, in the season that I am currently right now, I am learning. I haven't mastered it yet. God knows. to hold loosely to my kids. And what I mean when I say that is, I am a big person on safety. I like my kids to do things the right way. I don't want them to do something that will hurt them. That not being like a careless mother and, oh, well, you guys, good luck, Mila, you're 9 months. So here you go, pushing you out of the nest. But to hold loosely to them, to know that he has them in the palm of his hand. But the challenge has been in the process of Mila and her health and the different tests and things is, just, do you trust me with them? If you do, then let them go. To let them go and give them to me. The same God that is constant and loving and there for me is the same God that I want them to know. And how will they know if I keep grabbing them? And mom is who they're constant in. And I want them to have not just a secondhand experience of Jesus. I want them to know him. I want them to have an encounter. I want them to have a life-changing moment with him, and then they'll forever follow after him. I think I would like to say to the parents who have seen the need for Jesus in their lives and in their families, and right now they're currently, taking their children to church and pointing them to Christ, more importantly. I would just like to encourage you to keep on, because I know that at some point in each of our lives, of us 4 kids, that we have rebelled, we have strayed away. We all have. Everyone has, I know. But I would say to those parents to keep on, to persevere, because we are the product of parents that chose different, that chose opposite of what they seen at times, that they wanted something different. The only thing that they seen that was going to be different and going to make a difference and going to be lasting was Jesus. And so I would say to those parents, I would encourage them to keep on, keep taking them to the feet of Jesus, because it matters, it's lasting. I know for myself, I can say that I'm no one special, I'm no one perfect, I've messed up, but I know that because of my parents and their choice to follow after Christ, because of those prayers that they prayed for me, for my mate, for me, for the decisions I would make for my children now, that's why I'm here today. And I'd also want to say to the moms, for the moms, specifically to the moms that perhaps have children that have health complications, I would want to encourage them to continue to just trust in Jesus, and to know that even if you go to the place of even if it's the worst case scenario, even if that test is positive, even if whatever it may be, whatever your even if is, that he'll be there, because he's been there for me, and he'll be there for you. I know that because he's the same. And I would just like to say thank you to my mom and dad. The greatest thing that you could have ever taught and left us kids with is Jesus. You taught us to pursue him, to follow after him, to serve him, to love him. But you're constantly was pointing us to Jesus. You're still constantly pointing us to Jesus. And so I would like to thank Mom and Dad for just pointing us to him, for telling us about Jesus, for teaching us about Jesus, for just modeling that. So thank you, Mom and Dad. The verse I'm going to read is Philippians 4, 6, and 7. And it says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." In the season that I am in and have been in with my precious little baby, I have had the tendency to worry and to take it on myself. But this verse reminds me that to not worry. It's a specific command to don't worry about it, but give it to me. I've been in a situation, we've been in the doctor's office or in the exam room with Mila, and there has just been this physical piece, and it's been an emotional piece that has just washed over me. And he's continually telling me to trust in me, trust that I have this, trust that I'll be in that exam room, trust me with her. I can handle it. Give her to me. I can handle it.
We're the Morgan girls, and this is our story.
So lastly, we would like to encourage those in our family, our church family, that this is not as scary as it looks. There is a camera, I know, there's lights, there's this
Action.
yeah, there's
Tears.
action, there's tears,
Lots.
but I think what it just comes down to is just us being willing constantly to just tell what Jesus is doing in our life. You don't have to go all the way to the back, to the very beginning, but just to tell what he's doing right now in my life, what he's taught me, what he's taken me through, what I am in right now. We want to do it together. It's easier to do it with somebody, so if you got a buddy or a spouse or a friend or anybody, you know, that you're willing just to come and sit, it's easier to do it together because you kind of are able to encourage one another and help one another. But it's just telling others what he is to us, what he's done for us, what we've seen him do. You know, we can always talk about these great basketball players or this, you know, thing on this talent that on this show that someone had. We can tell about that. So surely there's something that we can tell someone else about the God of the universe who has come and intervened in my life time and time again. We all have something. Everybody's got a story, and the thing is everybody's story is so unique to them. And so when we all tell our stories, then someone, whether it be an unbeliever, whether it be just someone that's having a hard time, will be able to relate to us. If God can be there for them in that, then surely he can help me where I am right now. Those of you that know me know that I don't like to get up in front of people. I'm naturally shy, I'm naturally awkward, I'm naturally introverted. Ray's nodding her head. But
Amen.
but if I can do it, that's just what I think that's what God does, is he just, when he comes in and changes something, and you just can't help but tell. Just like a good play at a basketball game, just like a good meal that you've had.
A good movie.
You can't help but tell somebody about it. And I know that all the more that's why we should talk about God, because he is that plus so much more.
If us Morgan girls from Oklahoma can get up here and do it, you can do it.
Come on.